is Michaela and today I will be speaking to you about Albert Einstein. Did you know that the mathematical genius Albert Einstein couldn't even remember his own phone number? An article in the Time magazine stated, "He was the embodiment of pure intellect, the bumbling professor with a thick German accent, a comic cliché in 1,000 films, yet he was unfathomably profound. The genius among geniuses who discovered, merely by thinking about it, that the universe was not as it seemed." Einstein was, and is, renowned as a genius. But it wasn't always so. Most do not know. He couldn't remember his own phone number, he hated wearing socks, and he would charge for autographs. Don't judge him too hard, as he would donate the money to charity afterwards. What else don't you know about everybody's favorite genius? Today I will be teaching you about the key events in the life of Albert Einstein. I will include his childhood, adulthood, family, career, and death. Einstein was born in Ulm, Germany on March 14, 1879. His parents, both middle-class Jews, were Hermann Einstein and Pauline Koch. 1 year after he was born, the family moved to Munich, Germany, where his sister Maja was born. Einstein was an abnormal child. His mother, when he was born, thought he was deformed because he had such a large head. Einstein also didn't start talking until he was 3 years old. His first word, or in this case phrase, was, "The soup is too hot." He spoke this while they were at the dinner table. He threw massive tantrums until he was 7 years old, and, unlike most boys, he didn't look forward to serving in the German military. Einstein attended public schools for his elementary education. Peers and teachers considered him average or below average intelligence. One teacher, his math teacher, even called him a lazy dog that wouldn't amount to anything. When Einstein was 16 years old, his family moved to Pavia, Italy, so that his father could begin an electrical business with a relative. They left Einstein alone to finish his schooling at the Luitpold Gymnasium. 6 months after leaving, the Einstein family found Albert on their doorstep yet again. He had been depressed and lonely back in the Luitpold Gymnasium. Luckily, Einstein was able to apply at the nearby Swiss Federal Polytechnic School. He was 17 years old, so he was required to take an early admittance exam, which he failed. So he had to wait for the next chance to reapply, which that time he succeeded and was accepted into the school. While attending the school, Einstein met his fellow student and future wife, Mileva Merrick. After several years, Einstein and Mileva were married. But before they were married, they had one daughter that they named Lee Searle, meaning Little Lisa. No one is sure what happened to Lee Searle, but two popular theories exist: death by scarlet fever or adoption. Einstein was away for business when Lee Searle was born, so it is unknown if he actually ever met his daughter. Einstein's parents had urged him not to marry Mileva as she was not Jewish, but on his deathbed, Einstein's father gave him permission for the marriage to continue. Einstein and Mileva were married in January 1903, and they had a son, Hans Albert, in 1904. Einstein was extremely devoted to his son. Their second son, Edward, was born in 1910. In 1919, Einstein divorced Mileva and married his cousin, Elsa, only 4 months later. During this phase of his life, Albert spent his free time either with his wife, Elsa, or debating his theories with fellow physicists. In 1932, Einstein and his wife were forced to flee the country when Hitler came to power. They fled to Princeton, USA. 3 years after they fled, Elsa died. After her death, Einstein rewrote his paper on the theory of relativity. Einstein received his PhD from the University of Zurich, aka the Swiss Federal Polytechnic School, in the year 1905. In 1909, he received a job there as a lecturer. During the next 4 years, Einstein lectured at several different schools, several different universities. Einstein eventually left his wife and his family in Zurich to teach at the University of Berlin. Soon afterwards, Einstein began to publish his special theory of relativity. Einstein's special theory of relativity is the most famous equation on Earth, E equals mc squared. I'm sure we all recognize it. Einstein once explained relativity this way: put your hand on a hot stove for a minute and it seems like an hour. Sit with a pretty girl for an hour and it seems like a minute. That's relativity. Einstein died in the Princeton Hospital on April 18, 1995. The cause of his death had been an aortic aneurysm that had burst. He'd been previously diagnosed, but there was nothing they could do. He wished to be cremated and then had his ashes scattered in the Delaware River. I have now told you the story of the renowned genius Albert Einstein. He was an average or below average student who worked hard. As we know, his hard work paid off. He was accepted into a university and eventually got his PhD. He is responsible for the most well-known equation of all time, E equals mc squared, the special theory of relativity. Einstein was a devoted father, if not a devoted husband. I hope you now have a basic understanding of the life of Albert Einstein. Now you have heard Einstein's story, and you know he wasn't a genius at the beginning. He had to work hard and suffer to become what the world knows him as today. Despite what most would think, Einstein was not always an Einstein. He had many challenges as a child and adult that shaped his future and changed the world forever. And
Yay.
as you can see, popular culture knows him.